Got it. Yeah. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Yep, we can hear you.
All right, so me and Allie Stately put this together. She's the marketing VP this year, extensions director, and finding programming projects in outlying area is what we focused on. So the next. Tanya, do you do it or do I do it?
You do it.
If you want to do it, I can give you the permissions, but then you're gonna have to bring it up.
No, that's fine. Just go next.
Yep, I'm trying.
Oh, okay.
With the double screen, it pulls up on 2 different screens. It's weird.
Oh, quit being so bossy.
That's okay. You're fine. There we go. Got it. You're good to go.
All right, so when we looked at prospective resources for finding projects to be a part of, you can look at newspapers, other city, county publications, flyers on billboards or bulletin boards, Facebook groups, local chamber offices, or networks of nonprofits. And we've dedicated some slides to each one of these, so we'll just move through them then and talk a little bit more specifically. So when you find events with newspapers and publications, next. When you're searching in newspapers, I suggest you spread your net, not always just look at the newspaper in your town. If there's something within your county or even statewide, it can help you see what other people are doing for projects, which can be helpful. And you can find a way to adapt that. You can also find other organizations that may be present in your community that you weren't aware of. So newspapers are a good source, but I do realize not every town has newspapers. So that's why you can look at other publications. Most cities will have welcome guides, like welcome to our city. These are things that go on. And even just today, I was looking to make a connection in the city, and I looked at their 4th of July calendar just to see what kind of people were hosting what events and who pretty much does the events in that city was evident by the 4th of July schedule. So those are things that you can look at as well. Some cities put out a city-wide calendar events, and some places put in like weekly pamphlets. So in Rosa, we have something called the News and Views. It's just a weekly pamphlet that goes out that has random advertisements, a crossword puzzle and such. And you can see a lot of what's going on. So when you're trying to find events, you don't necessarily have to recreate a new event. You can find events to collaborate on, and you can also find events to piggyback on. So if you don't want to work with them, you can also do an event alongside somebody else's. And then also just take note, because when you're finding events, you could be advertising in these same things, if that makes sense. So finding events on billboards and bulletin boards. Next. Billboards, so advertising is taking place all around you. I really like the next time you go somewhere, be conscious about just looking at everything posted. I know sometimes you have your tasks, you're on your errand, you're going to do this, this, and this. You don't always look at stuff. So really just look around you, because advertising is taking place everywhere, and it's for stuff that you could participate in, collaborate on, or something where you could say, oh, there's a need here. We could create a product. And then in addition to that, consider attending some of those events so you can learn about an organization, because you might see how they run a project, and it might help you do a project you've already been doing in a different way. And then it could also help you find something where you're like, their vision coincides with what our vision is. So maybe we could partner and make this event stronger. So once again, not recreating the wheel here, just seeing what's out there and seeing how you can help. Just because I know that building a project from ground up is sometimes harder. It takes a little bit more work than your chapter has available. The other thing is bulletin boards. I swear every grocery store, a liquor store, church, movie theaters, they have them right at the entrance. So just take a moment to look sometimes. It's where a lot of people will advertise because a lot of times it is free. And then this also might be a place you can advertise your own event. And then often promoting others will help your chapter get promotion from an organization. So it's kind of like a scratch, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of situation. So if you can find an event that you think is great, you guys could promote it and they could turn around and promote something for you. So in addition to finding events that your chapter can take on or collaborate with, you can also build a network and build better relationships in your area. Next.
So I'm gonna take over this part. I'm Allie. I'm your marketing vice president this year. So we're gonna go ahead and look on different events on Facebook. Everyone can hear me, right? Okay, good. So in the search bar on Facebook, whether this is in your mobile or on your desktop, I'm showing the desktop here, you can literally search events near me. And then once you search that, click on that calendar with the star. And next, please. It will bring you to this page that has like recommended events. But if you scroll down a little bit, you can discover all the events that different organizations or our organization or other Women of Today organizations have put out on Facebook that is actually near you. And this would be like a great opportunity for you to maybe see if you can have a booth at this vendor or at this event to really market yourselves and also just to get out in the community. Go ahead, next. So you can set certain settings when you have the discovery events on. So you can set it to your location. So this is where your computer will automatically take your location, or you can change it if you need it to, and you can actually type in like the town that you're looking for or a city that you're looking for, and you can change the date range. You can do like your top, like recommended based off of what you like on Facebook, what your friends are doing, or the groups that you are following. Next. So to change that location here, I just go in a little bit more detail. You click on the drop down and then you can either have the location read your location or you can search by city. Next. So here just scroll through the events to see if there's anything that you really want to participate in or have any have an outing even with your chapter. So the one thing that we always recommend, if you go out with your chapter, try to wear something Women of Today, just because then that gets people questioning like, hey, who's that fun group, you know? So just kind of keep that in mind. If you can wear Women of Today stuff, that'd be perfect. Other than that, it's just basically to get out in the community. So go ahead, next. And then another way to find events is just simply Google searching. So if you Google search events happening near and then your town and make sure you put Minnesota, it literally will list some events. Like Google is really good at search finding on different web platforms for you. So you can hear and search anything that you need to. Next.
I will jump back on. So the next one, and I'm finding this to be useful, is the extensions director. Your local chamber of commerce local chamber office or community board. So where I live, we have the Roseau CNC, which is civic and commerce. They don't have a chamber the way that like Warroad has a chamber. So connecting with any of those people, because a lot of them will know what's already in existence, and they also can tell you what the need is. You should invite maybe a member from the chamber to come to one of your meetings so they can see what you're doing. That would be a great way to spread your net that way. Or even attend, a lot of their meetings are open to the public, attend those. And then city offices. So look for people that have been long-term members or rotating members can be valuable as well, or attend a city council meeting. And also, in addition to city offices, something I did today that I just randomly, I was like, I'll call there. I called a public library just to say, hey, I'm calling from Women of Today, and this is what we do. And I was just looking for a contact. Do you know anybody that would be a good contact for this? I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody at the city. And the lady was incredibly helpful. So I know that I probably got lucky, and not everybody will be so wonderful. But just look at city offices and buildings that function. So like the public library was a great resource. And I don't know that that would have been the top of my list of somewhere to call for someone. But be conscious of inviting them to your stuff in addition to just attending theirs, because the crossover is going to help build a relationship. It's going to help that collaboration. I feel like a lot of our successful events that Women of Today do are through collaborated events. And then the last tool on the list is network of nonprofits. This is something we kind of did up north here. Just finding out what nonprofits exist in your area. Not everybody knows what they are and what they do. I couldn't tell you what the Rotary Club did until I asked. I just knew they were the Rotary Club. And after you found out what they did, then we were able to see like, oh, maybe we can partner with them or get support from them for a project is what we ended up doing. We got some donated items and some funds from the Rotary to carry out a project. So just finding out what nonprofits or clubs exist in your city is a big step to finding projects, and then networking with those people. Those people will, if they've already been operating as an organization, they can tell you what events there are, and they can also help you determine the need in your community, whether there's need for more kids events or adult events or a coat drive, or if the food shelf needs support, or what type of support the food shelf needs. We found out our food shelf didn't necessarily need funds as much as they needed technical support. They didn't know how to run a website or a Facebook page or staff their place. So volunteering to staff through members of Women of Today was what they needed for help versus financial help. So connecting with them and finding out what different clubs are about can definitely help support you finding a project and building or else collaborating. Here. So if you build this network of nonprofits, I would do it through a collaboration of a city committee in some way, because then it's just public knowledge. So through a chamber would be a great way to establish this, and you could be a catalyst for it if it doesn't already exist in your community. And it'll help market your chapter. It'll help expand your net. You could potentially get new members. And then you can potentially gain support for events you already have planned. So I think the biggest thing is just reaching out, talking to people, because this can be done. I know I joined a chapter that was rebuilding and was a president very early in my membership. And I just had to reach out and talk to people because there wasn't a lot of paper trails left behind on how we did our events. And just building new connections, it made some of our events stronger when I was in Warroad. So just from experience, collaborating and networking are keys to success for Women of Today and building your events up, I would say, your collaboration up. Next. So just to kind of wrap it up, move through that kind of fast. Don't make it really hard for yourself. Don't recreate the wheel. Finding events can be very, very easy. It could be, they don't have to be huge events where hundreds of people come. Your event could be a smaller impact for a small niche of people. Networking is key to growth and success. I truly believe that. The more people that know about Women of Today and know how they can support you or know what you can offer them, the better your chapter is going to be when it comes to events. Finding different projects can mean adding a new event, but it doesn't always have to be a new event. It could be just collaborating. And then there's a ton of resources. So I feel like we've listed a handful, and then like you can call people, which is what I've done. Allie demonstrated how you can click through Facebook and easily find stuff. And then also, I just wanna, if you need help on how to approach an individual or group, feel free to reach out to me or state staff for that support. Because I know sometimes when you don't know what you're asking for, or you don't know how to ask it, but you have this idea in your head of what you want, just executing it, a little bit of support is all you need. So I think really reaching out and saying, hey, I kind of want to do this, but I'm not sure who I should talk to or what I should do. We're definitely here to provide that support. We'll hold your hand, help you through it. That's kind of all we have. I hope that was a little bit helpful for people.
I think we had a good example in the St. Joe chapter with this. When we started working on having a bike safety event, we called a lady at the Park and Rec department, and she has helped us connect in other ways with other events. Like we manned the concessions booth for the Little League softball team last summer, so we made some money that way, but it, got our name out there more. And then, she also came to our event then this year. So we've developed a good relationship with her, and she's come up with ideas where we can plug in addition to other things. So
That's awesome. It's pretty much networking and being successful at its greatest form with that. People helping people.
Yep.
People innately usually want to help. So even if it's in a small way, they want to help.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions or feedback? If not, then I think we're good.
This is being recorded, right?
yes,
So where do we get the link for the recording if somebody wants to watch it?
I can send it out. It'll be out on YouTube.
We can also share PowerPoint.
Yeah, and the PowerPoint will be on the website. I get them out there.
So that'll be on the Minnesota Women of Today website then? So
Yes.
PowerPoint? Okay. Okay, thanks.
Oh,
Thank you, Andrea and Ally. That was good information.
yes, thank you very much. How to cope with all the changes that we're undergoing with redistricting and restructuring. So none of this is my own ideas. Of course, I borrowed, but I hope some of these ideas will be helpful. And please, if you have ideas that have worked for you, please chime in at the end, or if you have questions. Next slide, please. So like I said, as I just thought this was a kind of appropriate topic for us, not only as women of today, but just in everyday life. Next slide, please. So I found 10 tips for coping with change. 1, acknowledge that change is happening. Denying that change is happening, probably it might help us in some ways, but if you accept the fact that things are changing and it's okay, it's probably going to be less stressful than ignoring it or putting off how to deal with that change. Next slide, please. So as we all know, even good change can cause stress. I mean, there's good things that happen to us, like having a baby, getting married, graduating from college, starting a new job. These things can all cause stress, but they're positive life changes. And stress is just our body's way of reacting to change. So, rather than try and avoid the stress, try and find ways to cope with that stress and deal with the stress in a positive way. So one thing to do is try and, keep things as regular as possible. If you're keeping on doing the things you're doing, like you're going to meetings, you're going to your job, you're doing things with your family, that's one way that your brain isn't having to deal with all kinds of new things in your life. You've got some regular things, some constants that are keeping you kind of at an equilibrium. But then also remember that even though you may be stressed with whether they're negative or positive changes in your life, try and keep a balance between your work, your family, and your women of today. Trying to do too much of one is going to take away from others, and that may not be good. You need to have a good balance so you're getting good feedback and good support from people around you. Next. And one way that we can take care of ourselves while we're coping with stress is to try and take care of ourselves and our health. Looking for ways to eat healthy. And I know when we're under stress, if you're like me, you reach for comfort foods, and a lot of those are carbs, which aren't necessarily good for us, but do so in moderation, and also try and limit the alcohol and caffeine and other substances that might contribute negatively. Somebody just commented, eating healthy, I'm out. I know, it's like, we all know this is all stuff we know, and it's just, I guess some of it's common sense, and it's not even stuff that I necessarily live by every day. But I think you've probably heard, if we're doing good 80% of the time, that's going to keep us on the right track. And exercise, now this is one thing I've had trouble with lately because I've been in a lot of pain with my right knee, and so I'm not moving as much as I should, and it's catching up with me because the less I move, the more out of shape I get. But I think we find that if we do get out and move, and even if it's just going to the grocery store or just getting in our car and going somewhere and having to walk a little bit, I think that just motivates us to keep doing that and not just become a hermit, not just stay in our apartment, not just stay in our house and isolate ourselves from people. I think that's the most important part, is to not isolate yourselves, somehow find a way to get out there and do something to just change your momentum. Next slide, please. And I think this is one of the most important things, is to seek support. If you're really feeling frustrated, turn to a friend, ask for help, reach out to family and friends, and just remember that you're not here alone. That's what this family of women of today is all about, I think, is that we're not here alone, that we're in it together, and we're in it together to get through it together. And so just remember to surround yourself with friends that you can trust and vent to and share your frustrations with, and even share the good things you're doing or the positive things that you're doing to get through each day. And even be cognizant of the positive things that have resulted. Now, I think this one, we can really take to heart with the redistricting and the having new chapters in our districts. Think of it as an opportunity to meet new people, and maybe it'll give you a chance to speak out more because you've got new people to meet and change and exchange ideas with. And maybe it's just a way that with all the changes, you're getting better at prioritizing what's important in your life. And just remember that change presents us with the opportunity to grow. I think, I mean, finding the balance, that's kind of, setting your priorities and, decide what is important in your life. And maybe you don't need to, go to every event and every meeting, but also don't shy away from meeting those new people in your district. And, they may have some great ideas, and you may make some new friends that, but hold on to the old ones too. You don't have to let those go because they're in a different district. I know Monticello and St. Joseph have decided to be sister chapters because we still want to do things together. So we're not letting the fact that we're in different districts keep us from doing things together. So next slide. So be proactive. Kind of, if you see yourself going down a path that isn't good, where you're isolating too much, take charge, get out there, get out and enjoy the weather, get some fresh air, see some friends for coffee. It's better to be proactive. I think it's less stressful because you feel like you're more in control. If we're just reacting to everything, I think that causes more stress. And sometimes the way that we respond, if we're just reacting, sometimes that response sometimes doesn't make us feel as good about ourselves as being proactive. And then if you're active with groups that make you feel you're making a difference or making a positive impact, which is hopefully your chapter and your district, I think that's also a way to, think of change as being a positive thing in your life, that you get to find new ways to make a difference. And it's still good to vent. We all need to vent. You don't want to hold it in, and because we all know if you hold it in too fast, you end up exploding or it comes out sideways, and that's not good either. And I think, and find a safe person to vent to, but also, don't let the person you talk to, just that's all it's about is venting, or just, or even your group, that you're just venting about what you don't like about your new district, what you don't like, about the new redistricting solutions. It's like it just creates more negativity. And I think we still, it's okay to vent up to a point, but then we need to move on and find the positive things that we can do. And I think then, if we look at, let's brainstorm together and let other people's creative ideas and hope for change, that can be a way that we all grow together and make us stronger. So I'm hoping that that's, what new chapters coming together will bring about, is that we'll find the positive ways to make a difference and become stronger. Next. And sometimes, you just need to take a break from everything. When you feel like, you didn't have any control over things that are happening, or if because of change, you feel like you're not living up to what you thought things were going, or how things were going to go. I think it's just time to take a break. Don't think about it for a while, but, find ways to have fun with friends and family. I truly believe that you gotta laugh at least once a day to laughter's good for you. It's good for your soul. It's good for your heart. And, find ways to relax, meditate, just if you have hobbies or pastimes that really make you feel good about yourselves, please indulge in that to just take a break from the stress of life sometimes. I know that's what I do. That's what making cards and scrapbooking does for me. It's a way to kind of escape and but a way that it's a positive outlet, because I'm creating something, or even take a vacation, even if it's just a week or a day, but I think we can all benefit from just getting away for a while, if that's what it takes. Next slide. Is that it? So there were a lot of comments. I was trying to kind of read them while I was doing it, but could some of you share what you wrote?
I just put, I don't have time to exercise or eat healthy.
I know. Yeah, you're a
My
busy
exercise is
lady.
all my activities. That's my exercise.
Yeah,
All the events and stuff. Farmers markets every Tuesday. That's been taking up a lot of time and a lot of walking.
I just wrote I usually like to clarify if I'm gonna vent or word vomit on someone. I need to get this off my chest. I'm not looking for input or a solution. I just need it out of my body. Because then I'll quit stewing on it. So
Yeah.
just make your intention known if you're venting. Sometimes that helps and it stops the spread of a domino effect that you didn't maybe want.
Well,
I saw a nephrologist who said, yes, diet and exercise are good, but exactly what I'm doing, which is I do a lot of volunteering in our community. And he says that's just as good as the other two, both mentally and physically, because you're physically active at that time and you're mentally healthier if you do that.
well, and as far as the venting goes, I think, I heard someplace if you're venting, it doesn't mean you're looking for a solution. You just want to vent, and you can clarify that to the person you're venting to, that you're not looking for a solution. You just need somebody to listen.
And if you're looking for some help or ideas, be sure and say that too, because
Yeah.
a lot of times they aren't sure if that's what you want from them or not. So
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I hope this was helpful. I think it's just a few reminders for ourselves of ways to take care of ourselves.
Thank you, Janice.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share. I think this is going to be a record short webinar. But on the other hand, Shelley, you can go for an hour.
All right, woohoo! I have to take a break. I wrote in the chat. I gotta go. The ice cream truck was driving by my house.
Oh,
No fair. Steve and the dogs were running to it and I had to sit here.
oh. You didn't tell him to bring back something for you?
No, they did. It's in the freezer. So I promise not to take a whole hour of your time. This is just some general generic guidelines. By far, this is not the Bible or the absolute, this is what you have to do. These are just some tips to kind of keep you in line and out of trouble, I guess, out of social media jail. I know Amy's been in a few times on Facebook, so I probably need to check on her. So, Tanya, next one. If we can. There we go. Okay. So the definition of social media, it's defined as any online presence for the Minnesota women of today. This includes, but it's not limited to, the following platforms: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Pinterest. Some of you are going, yeah, I know what that is. And some of you are going, what's that? So we'll go into it a little bit farther. You can find this definition. I don't know if any of you have been out to the website, but on the Minnesota Women of Today website, there is a set of guidelines that were developed by a committee. I can't remember the date, 2016. You can find it by going to the member page and then clicking on forms and publications, and then clicking on state committees. And then you'll find social media, Minnesota Women of Today guidelines. So if you're looking for this information, you will find it there as well. The same information on our Minnesota Women of Today guidelines page is also the same information as on the US Women of Today website as well. Okay, they mirror one another. Okay, Tanya, next slide. So, you need to know the social media landscape is pretty competitive. There's lots of people out there trying to get your time, get your attention, get you to join them. And so it's just that I need everyone to be aware it's an extremely valuable tool to inspire the public to help our cause. So we have the ability to reach millions, and I mean millions of people across the world. So if we're using the right apps, the right content, and targeting the right markets, the sky's the limit. So these do's and don'ts can help you keep your social media strategy in check. So first off, let's talk about posting. So some people say, oh, I don't like to post, it's a lot of work, that kind of thing. So why don't you recruit a team of volunteers from your chapter to help brainstorm ideas and take turns posting? Don't have it be just one person's job. Maybe one person can take September, someone can take, October, November, whatever. But it's important to keep in mind that the content that you're putting out there, and that you're using the right application, and then your posts are engaging. So, side note here is if you add a photo to your posts, it will give your page life. Images stand out and can engage the view more readily. Posts with relevant images get 94% more views than content without images. So you see how important that is to have an image. Make sure your image matches your post and use them, because you will likely get more hits and more people seeing what you're posting than one without, because they'll go, oh, it's words. So keep that in mind. Tanya, next. All right, as you know, there are lots of platforms out there. So first off, we'll start with a don't. Don't post the same exact message across all of your social media applications. You do want to maintain a consistent identity, but not all of your content is correct for all platforms. Do make sure your posts fit the platform you are posting on. So for example, Twitter should be brief and one-liners. Facebook should be short but conversational. LinkedIn, professional discussion that encourages participation. Pinterest, keep pins inspiration, positive, and actionable. And for TikTok, you create short format videos. Just wanted to note, I know a lot of you are like, oh, TikTok, but it is the fastest growing social media app with over 1 billion monthly active users to date. Think about that, 1 billion monthly active users. So I think if you're uncomfortable using TikTok, I get it, But if you can, and it's something I'm looking into more, as well as a way to, and maybe it's just a short video about something that your chapter is doing. Maybe at your event, you can just do a short little video and post it. But I just want you to keep it in mind that there's so many ways to get out there, but you should try to follow those guidelines to hopefully engage some people. So Deb says she likes TikTok. So Deb, tell us, what do you do on TikTok, or do you follow people? You follow. Okay. Okay. Tanya, next slide. Audience. So don't use just one format for your content, because the followers can be drawn to different types of content. Do and utilize different characters. By characters, I mean different personas to use to differentiate your posts to audiences. Each group tends to have its own content preferences. So for example, Generation Z prefers brief content for short attention spans. So, okay, so to me, that's saying, okay, toddler. So I need to keep it short and brief, but, still need to get it out there. Millennials enjoy reviews and contact with influencers. Generation X is straightforward and visually engaging posts. And baby boomers are content heavy posts, so like polls and quizzes for info. So Tanya, next slide. So sources. Do share original posts created by your chapter. Blog posts are shares, add graphics, photos, events, and behind the scenes action to encourage or build a following. Blog posts is any article, news, or guide that publish in the blog section of a website. The post covers a specific topic or question, can be educational, between 600 to 2,000 words, and can include images, videos, infographics, and insights. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware, but the Minnesota Women of Today does have a blog. In the past couple of years, Jenny Orr, our social media lead, has been posting things out there having to do with Youth of Today, different members who are on staff. So I encourage you that if you have something that you would like to post on the website, please send it to the web team or to Tanya for review. If it's something we can add, let's do it. But blog posts are meant to be engaging. So if we can do that, I think we can get a leg up in that world. So automation, don't use too much automation. So don't keep putting the same thing out there every month. You need to start. So we need to go to the do part, which is start a conversation. So asking questions is a fun way to generate response and engage your members or your followers. However, remember, you need to answer any questions and promptly respond to any comments, even if they're negative. I know that's not always the easiest to do, but it's important to at least respond in some way, shape, or form and acknowledge to that person you've heard what they have said and you appreciate their comment. You don't need to answer it or anything else, but if you just acknowledge it, I think sometimes that can go a long way. So Tanya, next slide. Hashtags. Okay. You may have seen people who have posted things and they've got like 500 hashtags behind what they've posted. So don't do that. Just don't use it because it's very distracting and it really doesn't help you to reach your target audience. However, do use relevant hashtags. Our organization has created hashtags specific to our organization, and they help us track conversation about our organization. So please use any of the following, which is hashtag MNWT for Minnesota Post and hashtag USWT for post referencing the United States Women of Today. The marketing VP and I believe President Amy will share others as the year progresses. They may be referencing our fall convention. They may have And Amy, maybe you have, I may have missed it, what you wanted to have for yours. If it's a vision of success, Janice's was giving a piece of your heart, hashtag giving a piece of your heart. So, so we will have more, but definitely use them if you have them for your chapter. I know New Hope has a couple. Go ahead and use them, but just don't list like every single one, okay? So now people say, I like Facebook. I don't mind doing it, but now I don't know what to post. So we'll talk about some topics, okay? Someone wrote D to dream on. Okay. Topics, let's see. So post inspirational and valuable content about your chapter, the Minnesota Women of Today mission, and don't forget the fun. Share your success stories. Tanya, next slide. All right. Now, this is a little bit trickier. Amy says hers is hashtag vision of success. So for trademarks, we're going to talk about it just a little bit here. By no means am I an attorney and know this, but this is just some basics that I follow with the vendors that I work with. Trademark infringement is defined as the unauthorized use of a trademark or a service mark. It's not a criminal act. However, you can be prosecuted under civil laws. So generally, you will be requested to stop using the trademark. And if you've made any profits from the use of this trademark, you will need to return any profits or pay damages for the use. So I just want you to be aware of that. So that's done and said. So I know you aren't going to use trademarks. Now we're going to talk about copyright. Creative Commons is a huge database of photos whose authors have waived the right to a fee for granting the license to use. Creative Commons, if you just Google Creative Commons, licenses have different levels of restrictions. And there are some authors who request credit by linking back to their site or simply stating their name. So if you use a picture or you use something that they have posted, check on Creative Commons, they'll have it out there. If it's free to use or if there's the request by the author to then to simply say, this was, originally stated by whoever the author is. So embedding a link that contains copyrighted material you will want to share is the safest way to go. So embedding a link, I don't know if everyone gets that, but it's basically adding a link in any of your material that then goes back to your original source. That is the safest way to share anything. This is the
Can I-
best way. Yeah.
Can I interject, Shelley?
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I asked Shelley to do this was that there was a chapter that posted a picture in their newsletter on their website and got in trouble because of copyright issues. And so this is something that's not something to fool around with. They had to pay a huge fee. So just something to be aware of.
Right. So embedding stuff is the best way to go for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook posts. So if you have an event and there's a great picture that someone has, you can say this, this image was, we were given access to you, or we were given permission to use this image by whoever the author is. So just be aware of that. So again, with questions, always, always, always send an email to the Proctor Service Center and to ask Tanya if the web team can take a look at it for you and let you know. I know that if you Google like free images or something like that, sometimes they're free, but you actually have to click on the image and look underneath it. And sometimes it'll say it might be copyrighted, or it may say ask for permission. So it's one of those fine lines you need to walk. But if you want to be safe and not get into any issues, the best way is just to either add that link or get permission. So Tanya, next slide. So one other thing I want you to be aware of is live streams. Live streaming is fun, don't get me wrong. It's fun to watch what people are doing, especially if you watch some of them and they're generally men who are riding a bicycle into a cement wall. Okay, so live streaming, it's considered creative or creating your own work if you do it. However, if there is background music and it is copyrighted, then you are now committing copyright infringement. Okay, need to be aware of that. So if you're someplace and you want to do a live stream, just be aware of your background audio. If there's music or images, like say you happen to be at a convention or a product launch, there's music or there's a video or there's images and they're part of your streaming event, you need to confirm that you're allowed to use that before you even post it. So the best sentence in all of this is, if you can't identify the author for permission, then just don't use it. Okay, so bottom line. So anybody have any questions? You know, it's a lot of information. This will be, as Tanya had stated, it will be posted to the website for you to review if you want to go back and check something, or if you want to share with your chapter. If you have a team of chapter members that are doing your Facebook posts, I know we've been talking with the team about, again, sending out, and hopefully you can let me know. Jenny put out for the last couple of years, every trimester, she gave you some Facebook notes to add to your topics to add to your Facebook page. So you didn't even need to come up with anything. You just needed to do it. So if you enjoy using that, we'll certainly look at going ahead and starting that again for this year. So everyone says, thank you, Jenny. Yay, Jenny. So that works. We also are planning to be sending out every month a calendar for you to use that will talk about not only Minnesota Women of Today and United States Women of Today events, but we're also going to throw in some of those fun things that you see, like National Donut Day or National Margarita Day or something like that. And then with those events, you can then post something to your Facebook page and says, hey, you know, it's Happy Margarita Day. What's your favorite margarita? You've now started a conversation. You've kind of said to everyone, hey, we all like margaritas. Let's talk about it. So, and you can maybe get some engaging conversations. People might say, oh, I don't like the salt in the rim. Some people might like say, oh, I like sugar in the rim. So, you know, so you start that conversation and it's just fun to do. So I don't know, does anyone, I'm looking to see if there's any questions. So questions or thoughts or
Great job, Shelley.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Shell.
You're welcome. Hey, Jeannie.
Got on a little late, but hey.
Hey, Tanya, you can turn off recording if you want.